What's up, everybody? It's your cybersecurity quarterback, Ron Wilkie. I am here to help you with CMMC. This is the new hot thing, right? If you want to do business with the government, they require you to have certain security practices in place, basically in different levels, right? Different levels. Level one, two, three, all of that. So this presentation is an overview. You gotta love this stuff. I love it. Do you love it? That's why you're here, because you love it too. But if you're just getting information, this is the place. So I'm going to do the overview, then I'm going to do level one, then I'm going to do level two, level three. But if you just need information right now, I got you. This is why I'm here. I'm your favorite cybersecurity quarterback, Ron Wilkie. Let's go, y'all. All right. The first domain we want to talk about is access control. What is access control? I mean, I know you all may think you know it, but do you really? So it's all about authorized access. Who has it, and then authenticating it, right? How do you connect to your systems? How do you connect to your client systems? How do you connect to your databases? Who has login privileges? All of that kind of information is what it's all about. Separation of duties, least privilege, non-privileged access control. Now, do you actually want me to talk about each one of these? Because I can. Separation of duties. Many times you don't want the same person who's coding your software to also be able to upload it to production, right? You want that to be a separate team or a separate individual. Maybe you code here, and then you have somebody else QA it, and you have somebody else upload it, right? So that's kind of like what separations of duties. You don't want one person doing every single thing, because then something can go wrong, or they could do it maliciously because of insider threat. There's just a lot going on with that. Least privilege. What is that? That means whatever you actually need access to, that's what you get access to, right? Not just because you want it or because your title says you're so important that, hey, I should be able to access prod whenever I want because I'm the CEO. It doesn't work like that. Only if you actually need access, and the least amount of privileges you need are the privileges you get. All right. And non-privileged accounts, right? That should be self-explanatory. But basically, if you don't have the privilege, you don't need the access, right? Non-privileged accounts. Use non-privileged accounts for non-security functions, right? So if you don't have these functions, you don't have the security for those functions, then you have access to it because it has no security functions. I know that sounded crazy, but you get what I'm saying, right? If not, put it in the comment section and I will answer it. And a lot of this stuff, I just want you to talk to me. So if you just want to, I'm going to say some crazy stuff in here just so you can say something crazy back. Access control security measures. Log on attempts. How many log on attempts did you use? Or do you have set? 3, 5, 10, before I lock somebody out. Session management. How long should a session be open? Especially without any interaction. Should it be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20, 30 minutes? And also remote access. How do you connect to us remotely? Are you using a VPN? What? Are you using RDP? What? Come on now. Come on. So those are security measures for your access control. Now, what about wireless and mobile, right? How do you authorize that? So those are some things that they want to look at. They want to see how you do your wireless access, your mobile devices, right? So why I'm telling you this is so that you can be prepared for those questions when that auditor comes in, or if you're doing a gap analysis or readiness assessment. This is before you even do that. You're getting this information now, and this is what that readiness auditor or readiness person is going to tell you. They're going to show you all of this kind of stuff. All right. Awareness and training, risk awareness, role-based training. So basically, you want to train your personnel on cybersecurity and what they should do to keep the company secure, because they are on the front line. The employees are on the front line. When they get those emails, they are being targeted, right? They are being targeted. So you want to make sure that they are trained. So right here I have role-based training. Train personnel to carry out assigned information security duties. Risk awareness. Ensure personnel are aware of security risks associated with their activities. I mean, I got videos on all of this kind of stuff to just be more specific. But what I'm giving you right now is what they're going to look at and what's in the domains for the CMMC. And remember I said there's level 1, level 2, level 3. So there are different levels to all of these different items that I'm showing you right now. Audit and accountability. System auditing. Basically, system auditing are your logs. Like every system can record logs, or you need to put a system in place if it doesn't. Put a system in place to have a record of who is accessing what systems and what's happening on each of your systems, your devices. In a previous video, I don't know if it's on this channel, but I did a video on the Security Operations Center and how it can help a small business or any business really. Every business needs one, but particularly businesses that want to be compliant. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Here you go. User accountability, event review, and audit protection. So you also need to protect the system that's recording the logs, right? That's recording all of these events. That's recording user behavior. Okay, so good to know. That's good for you to know, right? See, are you getting something out of this? Are you getting something? Baseline configuration management. You can see here baseline. What is the baseline? That's like your normal operation, your normal configurations, right? Then you want to set your security for that. And then if there are any changes to it, you have to have a process for changing your configurations, right? And you need to configure your system to provide only essential functions. That's what least functionality is. Let's go, y'all. Are you getting something? Does this mean anything to you? Identification and authentication. User identification. So how does a user identify themselves? Right? It says identify system users, process, and device. You can choose how you do that. You know, we've all seen the whole eye thing and DNA and fingerprints, and sometimes it's a code that you know. So usually this is how we know about it. Something you are, something you have, something you know. Those are 3 ways to identify and authenticate yourself. And you put 2 of those 2 together, you have multi-factor authentication. So if it's something you know and it's something you have, like you know your password and you have a key card, right? Or something you are, you have a fingerprint and you have a password. Those 2 things are considered multi-factor authentication. But if you know 2 passwords, that's not multi-factor authentication. It's still something you know. You got to have 2 out of the 3. And I prefer to have all 3 in my security systems. When you come to my house, to get in my door, you need fingerprints, you need passwords, and a key card. Come on now. Let's go. I'm just tripping. Incident response. So how do you handle incidents? First of all, how do you even classify them? How do you report them? Then how do you handle them? And do you test it? Do you test your incident response? They're going to want to know that. So this is all about CMMC, but I'm going to tell you something else. Most compliant efforts want to see these same things. But the difference with CMMC is that they go to a different level of auditing, whether or not you are compliant, right? So maintenance, system maintenance makes sense, right? Equipment sanitization, media protection. So back in the day, you store things on disk, and to a certain extent, you still do on your servers or in the cloud somewhere. But however you do it, you need to protect it. You need to destroy it when it's no longer of use, right? So what does that process look like? That's what media protection is all about. First, how do you access it? How do you destroy it? How do you get rid of it, right? Is it encrypted when it's, at rest? What about in transit? Is it encrypted in transit? When I say at rest, when it's just sitting on your hard drive. In transit, that's when you're sending information from point A to point B. Then how do you get rid of it? So let's go, y'all. Am I showing you something? Are you getting something from all of this? Come on, personnel security. Are you screening individuals, right? Do you do background checks? Are you asking them the right questions prior to them having this access to this information? Let's go. Come on, y'all. Let's go. Let's get it. Physical protection. All right, so this is pretty cool. Like, how do people have access to your property? Right? Do you have visitor badges? Are they color coded to be different than other people's badges? And everybody can't have the same looking badges. People need to know if it's a visitor, right? Come on. Let's go. Access logs. You keep logs of everybody who comes in, right? Okay. I'm listening. Yes, no, maybe so. Facility monitoring. Do you have cameras up? Do you have cameras at each door, in and out, so you can see who's coming in and who's going out? Do you have lights over the doors? Right? Okay. I mean, I could talk all day about physical security because I love it. I love doing penetration tests as it relates to physical security, trying to get in and all of that kind of stuff. So you have to do risk assessments as well. Are you doing risk assessments? Do you even know what a risk assessment is? Basically, you're looking at your threats and the probability and likelihood or and the impact if those threats are realized, if they're exploited, right? That's basically what a risk assessment is. And you do that for all of your different, you can do it for all your different devices, your environments, your people, processes, and technology. Then you do a risk assessment on those things, especially within scope for your CMMC, right? What's in scope. Now you can do things that's out of scope as well, but whatever your audit is about, that's what you want to do your assessment on, right? Whatever is in scope. You need to do this periodically. Once a year, is it once a quarter, whatever your policy says, or your standard and guideline. Whatever that is, you need to do that and adhere to that. And it's going to be different for different level 1, level 2, level 3. For all of these things that I'm mentioning, there are different levels to this. Vulnerability scanning. You should scan your environment for vulnerabilities, your devices for vulnerabilities, your servers for vulnerabilities, your network for vulnerabilities. And then you need to remediate whatever you find. Remediate that thing, fix it. Get it done, get it fixed. All right, and now your security assessments. Security assessments. What is your assessment covering? Right? Is it covering every control, some of your controls? What's the plan in case something, when you find something? What's your plan of action for remediation or reducing those vulnerabilities as I have right here? You know what, y'all? I'm not even reading this stuff. I'm just talking, but maybe I should read my own notes that I put in here. Continuous monitoring. When you do your assessment, do you have continuous monitoring? Right? In an ongoing basis. You need to be able to do that. Your SOC needs to be 24/7, your security operations center. And you also need a system security plan. Develop and update your system security plans periodically. Now that sounds like, okay, yeah, sure, I should. But you will be surprised at how many people do not update their security plans. So when you go through these audits, you should have the title of your document and then sign off for the people who have signed off, usually it's your VP or your C level, signed off on this document, and it should be a current date, a date within at least a year from the last time this doc was presented. Now, when this doc is presented, it should be, let's say today is January 1st, then that doc should have been updated before, after January 1st of last year, right? If that makes sense. Just within a year, basically, is what I'm saying. But also, it's according to your policy. If your policy says that it should be updated quarterly, then it should be reviewed and updated quarterly, and that date should be on that document. Anyway, let's keep it moving. System and communication protection. Something else that it's going to look at. Are you encrypted? Right? Do you have encryption as files are being transferred? I mentioned that earlier. You want to monitor and control external and key internal boundaries, basically your firewalls, right? You want to control remote activation and collaborative computing devices. Basically, when your devices are connected, you want to be able to control and see what's going on with those devices in case there's an issue, right? Your SOC has found an anomaly. Maybe it's ransomware. You want to be able to isolate that device, turn it off, get rid of it, disconnect it from your network, and then look to see if that ransomware is on other devices. But at least you got rid of this one, right? And then you can clean it without it affecting the rest of your environment. Anyway, I'm spitting game. I'm giving you the game here, y'all. Are you listening? System and information integrity. Basically, on your database, in your database, if it's supposed to have $500 as a value for something, the integrity means that it says 500 and not 5,000, but 500. You want to make sure that the information has the integrity. It is what it is supposed to be, right? So again, you monitor the system for changes. You want to report any system flaws if you find them, and you want to protect the code from being maliciously changed. So if you have code, it's out in the wild. When I say out in the wild, it's publicly facing on the internet. And can someone do a SQL injection and change some of the code, right, to the database? Come on, y'all, let's go. I could talk about this all day, every day, because your favorite brother, cybersecurity expert, is here for you. If you need anything, just hit me up. If you know how to get to me, you may not even know how to get to me, and that's by design, right? Let's go. So, key takeaways: there are 17 domains. We just went over them. You want to have layer security, right? And you want to always have continuous improvement. That's it. You want to regularly assess your environment also, right? You want to do that. And your last steps, your very last steps, you want to do an assessment. You want to do an analysis, a gap analysis, to determine whether or not you are doing what you're supposed to be doing and what's the gap in between from not doing it to getting it done. What's the gap? We're doing some of this, but we're not doing all of this. What are the things we need to do? That's the gap. Then you implement a plan. You implement that plan, and you get it done. That's it. That's it. That's all I got for you. I'm Ron Wilkie, your cybersecurity quarterback. Let's go. Holla at your boy.